Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Living with Perks, and today we have a new album review for you. We're reviewing RiverKinn's new album, The Cruel Digital. Came out September 8th, 2023, and we just wanted to kind of go over a little bit of our favorite songs and what we think of the album as a whole. As far as this album goes, he was able to give us a copy of it early so we could listen to it and give our honest opinion. And I think as far as it all goes, like, it sounds very familiar to his other albums.
Yeah.
I was happy with this album overall. Did you have anything in particular that stood out to you about it, or?
I think his music always stands out because he's such an original sound, but then it always sounds like him. Like, it's not this, constant, change in sounds like a lot of artists do just to kind of, switch things up. Like, you always know that it's RiverKinn as soon as the, it's going to sound cliche, but as soon as the beat drops, that it's a RiverKinn song.
Yeah, like the instrumentals, they are always, kind of that synth pop sounding, but I think it goes well for what he does. He does play his own instruments and everything, from what I know. And he's just a overall musically talented guy. The album starts off with kind of like a story of sorts. It kind of reminds me of like a cyberpunk type story. It's kind of like an assassination of sorts that he's like prepping for and everything because somebody stole his music, and it's just kind of a neat story that he came up with, and he's done that on his previous albums.
I was just gonna say, his past couple albums, that beginning story, it's always it almost just excites you to hear the music, and it would be so easy to just skip through it because you just want to get into his music so much, but you always sit there and you listen and you're like, oh my gosh, this is just it's revving you up to listen to the songs. And
and it sets the tone for the album as well, so that's pretty neat. I like that he throws that little flair in there.
Yeah,
his songs, they always seem to go in I wouldn't say a certain order, but a certain flow.
Yeah, they always flow from song one to the last song. Everything just sounds so well, and he clearly puts time and effort into deciding how he wants to have that lineup go, and you just know that it's gonna all sound good together at the end of the day. So
and it has those peaks of the music getting all hyped up and everything, and then there's a low point where a song might sound a little bit softer or more melodic, and then it gets back ramped up, and then it ends with kind of that, I guess, cliffhanger or ending of sorts, where I don't know, it just kind of draws you in to be wanting to listen to it over again.
It's always sad when the album ends, because I'm always oh, that's the last one, and then I'm well, I guess I'm just gonna have to replay the whole thing.
The whole album is great, but a few songs I want to point out that I really enjoy. I have 3 of them listed. She went with 4. She was kind of indecisive.
He tried to limit me to 3, and I was not having it, so
I guess I'll go with my first one, Night Vision with SpaceMan Zack.
Black Ice Night Vision.
It's been out for about a year now, but I was pleased to find out that it was on this album, and it just fits well.
When he's done other songs with SpaceMan Zack too, and they've always ended up probably on our favorites list as well. They sound incredible together, and it just makes you, want to keep listening.
I think that was
that was one on my list. Same thing. It's just, it sounds so nice, and
it's a good duo.
Yeah, they really are. But yes, that was another one on my list. So I'm going to keep my very, very favorite for the last. So my next one would be Living Hell, which is also on your list.
Yeah.
Only I ignore the danger and abuse. I needed water to grow, expecting more from you. Thinking about yourself, bitch, I wish you well. This ain't what you thought it was. It's no fairy tale, it's a living hell.
Yep.
So
he did that song with Dan Dipso. I was actually talking to RiverKinn over Instagram, and I was like, man, your music is like very familiar as far as like the instrumentals go. And I made the connection that his instrumentals sound like a video game composer named David Wise. And I showed him some like audio clips of these old video game soundtracks that I used to listen to, and I mean, RiverKinn's mind was blown. He was like, man, that does kind of sound like what I've put together and everything, and I might have to sample this in a future record. And that was pretty neat. And I mean, it's cool because we have that connection with RiverKinn, because I use a David Wise song for our backtrack for Living with Perks, like the Donkey Kong Country, like water
That's
music.
News to me, my goodness.
Yeah. So that was actually composed by David Wise, so it's kind of funny to see the connection between us and
circle.
him. Yeah. Like, as far as that song goes, I really like the way it is. Dan Dipso, I checked him out, and I'm like, I need to start listening to this guy, because it's very, very good listening, for sure.
Well, I just like that it's a nice, like, I guess to me it's more like on the upbeat side of some of these tracks, and I mean, I always kind of tend to like be drawn more towards those, or like the super sad ones. Like, there's really no like in between for me.
The crazy thing though is, like, even though his like instrumentals and music in general is kind of like upbeat and kind of poppy, his lyrics are more of the downer side of things. Like,
they're not even necessarily downer, but like they're relatable for like so many people too, that like when you really truly get into it and you're listening to the lyrics and the words, like I feel like every single album, like there has been multiple songs where I'm just like, oh my gosh, this makes me think of, you know, maybe our daughter or our other daughter, or, you know, maybe a friend from high school be like, oh man, you know, like there's just little things that like kind of like take me back and make me, you know, start kind of just thinking about things, because some of the lyrics are just relatable as far as just like life.
Yeah, so, exactly.
We're going to go with the next one, which ends up being on my list as well. So we're to Cave In.
I need to save me from myself before I burn to ashes. I think I'm starting to cave in.
Yeah, so Cave In, that's the ender track of the entire album. RiverKinn was on Twitch a couple weeks ago, and he was getting people prepped for this album and everything, and gave some samples to some of these songs, and this was one he showcased. And the thing I like about this one is how you were saying, you know, life events are relatable and that kind of thing. He said when writing this song, he personally was going through like his breakup with his ex, and she was packing her bags like in the next room when he's writing this song.
Oh wow.
So I mean, that really does, you know,
I mean that might hit home for a lot of people.
Like, yeah. And just like, I don't know, like it's crazy that you put your heart into your music, and it's like what you're actually going through at that exact time.
When it's funny because we didn't discuss this, like I didn't know any of this because I wasn't able to get on the Twitch with them or anything, but I didn't know that that's how this song was, you know, brought to. And knowing that, like listening to it, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, and even just listening to it the first time that I listened to it, it was kind of one of those things like, you're like, dang, like he must either be going through something, or, you know, knows somebody that's going through something, or whatever. Like, it was just kind of one of those songs that, like, even if you're not like going through those same types of situations or anything else, that like it makes you feel like you are in that moment with the artist. And
exactly.
And that's another thing that I just love about his music, is like it draws you in, and it really makes you feel like you're part of his music. And not all music connects with you that way. And from day one of us listening to RiverKinn, it's been that way. And you know, we've been blessed to be able to talk to him and you know, kind of get to know him on a little bit of a personal level, which, you know, then listening to his music, it does make you, you know, feel like, you know, when you hear things, you're like, oh man, like I wonder what was going on during that exact moment. And so like to have that being known now, that there was something going on when that song was brought to life, that maybe it was like a pretty, you know, crappy time, but like he made a pretty damn good track out of it. So
exactly.
Life happens, man. Like
yep. So yeah, that was one of your favorites as well. But
Yeah.
what was your all-time
I
favorite?
am just a huge fan, and I don't even really like. I can't even tell you like why. I think it's just again like that little bit of like upbeat to it. They All Lie. I don't know, like it just hooks me in, and I like could listen to that on repeat.
It's a catchy song, a catchy beat.
Yeah.
It's a good dance track. I know I've seen you out here dancing.
Well, I think you were
around
like
and
listening to it in here when I came in, and of course I like, you know,
busted a move.
always.
So yeah, as far as the album goes, it's probably one of my favorites by him. I mean, that's gonna sound cliche because like new album came out.
Yeah. I think as artists, like, and for him, like, I feel like over the past like year, like he has grown a lot, just like in his own being. Like, there's been a lot that has gone on for him, and I think sometimes like, you know, people do lose sight of themselves, and I don't think that he did. Like, I think that he's clearly been able to like move forward and move past and produce more music, and you get better. And I feel like he's just improved over the course of us knowing him as far as like his music goes. And I think probably as a person, like everybody grows and everybody learns. And I mean, that's the mom in me coming out, but like it's true. Like everybody has their hard times and things like that, and you know, he's been able to get through with his music, it seems, and you know, putting that kind of stuff out, and like we said before, just being able to like relate and feel that you have some sort of, you know, relation to the music. And I don't know, this album is pretty freaking great. So
yeah. And it's funny you brought up the mom thing, like the parenting thing. I don't want to dive too much into that, but he's entering that realm of being a parent.
Yeah.
And that's something that he brought up in the Twitch too. Like, he gave us a shout out.
Yeah.
And was like, I really like these guys. They do these reviews for me, and you know, they're parents, and I've looked up to them. And I was just like, man, don't make this about us.
Yeah.
Like, let's focus on you.
Well,
So
when we were young parents, and like our oldest is, you know, she's 16 now, and so we've had some practice. And so yeah, RiverKinn, reach out. You need some parenting advice. I mean, we may not be the best, but we've survived this long.
Yeah. So yeah, that was our review for The Cruel Digital. Definitely check it out. It's going to be on all streaming platforms. I'll have the links in the description below. Also link RiverKinn on social medias. He's on Instagram, Facebook, and that kind of thing. And yeah, we'll just have everything posted for you guys to check out. If you guys like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to Living with Perks, and we will catch you next time.
Yeah.
Peace.